Yes, it's day 2 of the big banquet in Berkshire. Welcome along to Good Morning Royal Ascot in association with the Racing Post. I'm David Jennings, and my panel for this morning to talk us through the second day of action is Natalie Green, Jonathan Harding and Paul Kealy. We've got plenty to talk about in today's show. We're going to be reviewing yesterday's action where our naps didn't quite come in. They were both placed, but they didn't win. It was demoralising, wasn't it?
It was. It really was. Bring on the night. I was out the chair was spinning round. I was going like this.
Did your best to get him home.
I was, and it looked a picture as well. And I thought at one point we had it, didn't you?
Yes.
Like just half a filling. I was like, oh, we've got this. No! And I texted you straight away, didn't I? I was like,
You did. You did. You're texting me a lot lately now.
Oh, no,
I was
sorry.
your husband, I'd be worried.
I was playing footsie with him yesterday. I've been texting him.
Now, Paul Kealy, for those of you that didn't watch the show yesterday, okay, there was a big split in the camp. So myself and Natalie were very keen on Bring on the Night. We both napped Bring on the Night. And Paul Kealy and Maddie Playle, our guest yesterday, napped Arcadian Sunrise. And Paul Kealy, straight after the race, said he should have won by half the track.
Yeah, half the track. Yeah, it was just, it's one of those. I wouldn't blame the jockey at all. It's because you've got a hold-up horse that is going to come around the outside or go for that daring run up the inside. You make the choice, don't you? Like, you know, the daring run, 9 times out of 10 you won't get a run from where you come from, but you're going to come out wide. And he came out wide off what was a steady gallop. We were hoping for a stronger one. And he made up absolutely tons of ground. So, you know, in different circumstances, he'd have won.
Yeah, hard luck, Paul.
But never mind. It's a marathon, not a sprint, so to say, which is a good job, really, because I came out of the stalls slower than Golden Power yesterday.
It is a marathon, and we're only on about the 4th or 5th mile at this stage. We're on the Wednesday, and what a day we have in store. We have got so much quality racing. It's the Prince of Wales Stakes. Will Baaeed prove himself to be the superstar of the day? And later on, we've got a really fascinating Royal Hunt Cup as well. And we've got the Queen Mary. But before we move on to today, we're going to just talk through yesterday. And Keels, the star of the show, the Aussie sensation.
Yeah, brilliant winning. I mean, yeah, 2 things. 1, he's obviously an exceptional sprinter. 2, it sort of puts our sprinters into...
Yes.
Tells us exactly where they are in the world. And, you know, our sprinters don't go around the world taking in all these big races, do they? Because they can't. They just get beaten out of sight. Twilight Calls has obviously run really, really well to come through and finish second. But it's a distant second to a very good horse. And our sprinters just aren't good enough on the world stage, are they?
It was a brilliant race. Obviously, I loved it. Twilight Calls was great. But do you know what was really funny about Nature's Trip as well? Like, it's enormous. But enormous in every sense, like in the back, in the leg. It's like a different... I remember on the RP Live, I was like, oh, it just looks like he's going to eat up the turf. And it literally was that,
Men
wasn't
against
it?
boys.
Well, they were saying on TV yesterday that it was, he was, going down the post like a 3-mile chaser. It was just so relaxed.
Yeah,
I
agree.
What you see of a sprinter at all. So he just took it all in and he saves the explosions for when he comes out of the stalls. I mean, that was brilliant.
If he runs on Saturday, Keels, in the Platinum Jubilee, will he do the double like Blue Point did?
Well, I think it's most likely not to run now, isn't it? Isn't that what the train's been saying anyway? I mean, he could be a short price favourite if he runs, won't he, after what he's just done there, because he stays 7, doesn't he? Like, you know what I mean? So he's already done it over 5, but I got the impression, because they've got home affairs as well, haven't they?
They have got big targets. Oh, what would you do? I'd go for it. I'm an optimist. I'd go for it.
You'd have a go, because it looked like he hardly had a race, really. Yeah. And the alarming thing is, I'm not sure he even broke that well and still won like that. Imagine if he'd really hit the kick. And
wasn't really like, when he pulled up, he was just like, yeah, they haven't had
job done.
That was great.
Job done.
It's like you after a show, Natalie. Just walk out.
On to Saturday.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, Jonathan, it's great to have you here. Your debut this week, obviously. Now, we've spoke about Nature's Trip already for a couple of minutes. And why is Baaeed not the star of the show? Why is he not the one we start the show with? Was he not the blockbuster performance yesterday? Of course, he's 8 from 8 now. Is he, dare I say it, the next Frankel? Or is he as good as Frankel now?
I think because of the Frankel comparison, we set the bar to anything other than a demolition, and we're going to be slightly underwhelmed. Yeah. When actually, I'm almost as impressed by a horse that just does enough and is professional and knows the job.
He's no Frankel, though, is he?
I think he is a horse who is worthy of that conversation of could he be the next Frankel. I think as all the discussion after the race was, there's bigger days to come and there's bigger tests to come, more importantly. I'm not convinced that was the deepest race. I think he probably scared a few off. But he won it well. He's done everything he can, and I'd love to see him in the Sussex take on Caribas.
Yeah. You've got an amazing point here, right? Why do you want to throw the kitchen sink at a horse on good to firm ground? As long as you're winning, you don't have to put massive margins in. if you're smart, you wouldn't. I mean, look at poor Huckamere. He's out with injury. You don't have to. Franco was also really hard to control. The whole point is that Henry Cecil did so incredibly well to train him. If you've got an easy-ish horse like Baaeed, don't. Why do you need to push him to the extremities of his lung, his heart, everything? Why? If he's good enough, he's good enough.
Paul Kealy, you
Oh, I'm
don't
so
mince your
grateful.
words. Come on.
I'm gonna
Is Baaeed anywhere close to Franco?
No, not in the middle. I find comparisons really tedious. I mean, I don't think, I think we're already in danger of forgetting just how good he was. Baaeed is yesterday's beating a horse rated 118 by 11 3/4. When Franco won the Queen Anne, he beat a horse rated 125 by 11 lengths. I mean, there is no comparison at all. He's nearly as good as some of the horses that Frankel used to thrash. That's where he is at the moment. All right, that doesn't take away from the fact that he's an absolutely top-class horse. But you've got to remember how good he was. And all this, is he as good as Frankel? Just because he's unbeaten. Nonsense, I'm afraid. Absolute rubbish.
There you go. Paul Kealy has spoken. Nearly as good as some of the horses that Frankel used to beat. That is Baaeed. That is the quote. That is Paul Kealy, and that's why you're here. And you kind of, in a roundabout way, Keels, you got the St James's Palace Stakes right yesterday, even though you got it wrong. You got it right.
This is what happens at Ascot, don't you? You get all sorts of hard luck stories, and I thought the interview William Haggis had on TV afterwards about Kieran Fallon was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
So, so good. He said, he'll be fine. We'll look after him. He feels terrible at the moment, etc. Look, there are ways to ride Ascot. We all know, right? Very often, when the ground is very fast, it seems like the strip up the rail is much faster than anywhere else, and that's where they were finishing yesterday if they got a run. But we all know, year in year out, loads of jockeys do not get a run. I mean, he's got an old man who's probably got loads in the back catalogue you could tell him about, isn't he? You know what I mean? Yeah. So Maljoom, 9 times out of 10 he wins that race, doesn't he? He's come from way off the pace, off a steady gallop. And Mighty Ulysses, I fancy, didn't even make the frame. He's come right round the outside, and tugging all the way out the back. I think Carobus was the third best horse in the race. And one thing I warned about, when it comes to Guineas winners, it's amazing how many don't win after Royal Ascot. Well, so we have to see how he goes, because Carobus obviously fairly lightly races a 2-year-old anyway. Could go on, and he probably wasn't best suited by a slow run race either, because he was very keen early. So, you know what I mean? But I think you can run that race again and get a different result a few times.
It was a funny race, because my pick, Lusail, because I had to jump off.
Yeah, fair play you. Great run.
Because it was non-runner, and I was me and James Millman were all in Lusail, but that was such a great performance from Lusail. But would I have Lusail as I don't mean it, but top class? I think there's I think it was a good run. It was a really positive run, but it was just a slightly odd race. But you would of course take out Ismail June. It was just fun.
Yeah. It'd be fascinating what happens in looking forward to the Sussex Stakes. Now, William Haggis hasn't totally committed Baaeed to that. Now, if he does, or even if he doesn't run, we could end up with a really big field for that race, because you can imagine a lot of those 3-year-olds wanting to have another crack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And without Baaeed, they know there aren't that many really good milers around. So, instead of having your normal 5 or 6 runner Sussex Stakes, you could have a nice big field this year.
If yesterday's race was tomorrow, who would you back?
Maljoom.
And if Baaeed and Carobus clash in the Sussex, would you be all over Baaeed?
Well, it depends on the price, but Baaeed would be odds on, wouldn't he?
He would. He'd be long odds on.
How good was Real World, though? Can we just talk Real World? Real World's amazing. It's a great horse.
Yeah, maybe we're underestimating him a little bit.
Real World is quality, I think, personally.
That's all right. Yeah. Real World, maybe.
Good horse.
Maybe Real World, as Tom Siegel said to me after the race, maybe Real World is a very good horse at Ascot, and he could be. So maybe we're underestimating the form of Baaeed. Your highlight of yesterday, Nat, was?
Getting the 1-2 in 5 races. Because I literally, every horse I mentioned was in the 1-2, so I had the trophy, I was kissing it, I was cheering it. Listen, you've got to enjoy the good days, because they don't always happen.
Yeah.
I leave that studio some days and tip one favourite winner. So I was so happy.
Well done, you. Jonathan, your highlight of Tuesday?
Got to be the Aussie Sprinter for me.
And for you, Keels?
Getting the 3rd in one race.
Listen, Keels, today is a new dawn. It's a new day. and I have faith in you today. And we're going to kick off.
We'll do our best.
We're going to kick off our day 2 preview with the 2:30. It is the opener. It is the Queen Mary, and at the moment, Dramatise is your 11-4 favourite. Love Reigns is also 11-4 joint favourite. Maria Branwell is next best in the market at 8-1, and it is 10-1 bar. Right, Keels, kick us off. Dramatised. Is she the real deal?
She looked very, very good, didn't she? There's no doubt about it. And Carl Burke's been talking about this race ever since. All depends on how good the American is, really, because I don't think anything else in the race has wowed me. You know what I mean? I think she would be clear best of the British and Irish, but Love Reigns has obviously won by a wide margin. We've seen, obviously Wesley Ward's runners didn't do so well yesterday, but this is a filly. He's won the Queen Mary 4 times. He's had 13 Royal Ascot winners. 10 of them have been fillies or mares. He's very, very good with them. I'll be having a keen eye on the TV and watching what they say in the paddock and whatever. Because remember, Lady Aurelia, crikey, she looks like a 4-year-old compared to all the others. Like, you know what I mean? So if we've got this big bull of a horse come over, she might just be one of those. But we don't know. We're guessing. So I sat this one out. If I was going to have a bet, it would probably be Love Reigns, just given the trainer's record, but I'm not going to.
Jonathan, 11-4 joint favourites at the moment. Are you looking towards the top of the market, or are you looking for something a bit bigger?
I quite like Maria Bramwell at a price, but I came down on Dramatised for similar reasons, really. I don't know enough about Love Reigns. May turn up and be an absolute monster. Obviously, the Wesley Ward factor is in the price there, I think. That's not 11-4 isn't bare form. That's the fact Wesley Ward has picked her for this race that he's won so many times. I like the way that Dramatised won at Newmarket. The second has won twice since. Okay, not in the best races, but this has been the target for a while now since then, and I just think I'm going to take that form over the potential of what Love Reigns might be.
I'm going to give you a quote from Carl Burke in the paper today. I really do think Dramatise has the potential to be a special filly and very good indeed. She has huge potential, and I haven't trained one as quick. But as well as the speed, she stays very well. That is, Nat, a proper quote.
You like to hear that, don't you?
Well, for someone that talks a lot, I've got nothing else to say, because I'm also on Dramatised. Because, look, Carl trained the Dam, 2-year-old listed winner. I'm a really big fan of Carl Burke. He's quality, like what he's done with Spycatcher and stuff. He's got all these strange feet and all this farrier work. Like him and his wife Elaine, and the daughters ride out. It's a proper family affair, and Carl knows the time of day, 100%. I love dramatising this. If Carl's saying this is a good thing, he's been bullish about it, and he's put himself on the line there, and I think that's great. He obviously clearly thinks one horse at a massive price. Can someone scroll down? It's definitely not there. Is just to try and hit the frame, because you've got to have all these excitements, all these big prices, is Carmella for Shropshire trainer Dave Loughnane. Do I think she's this level? No. She won a Class 4 at Carlisle. Do I like the horse? Very much so. So Carmella is 25-1. Okay, not 250-1. But Carmella could hit the frame.
Well, the horse Carmella beat on her debut won at York on Saturday.
Yes. Yes.
Kevin Reinhorst.
Yeah, and also Carmella's sole defeat at York, it was disaster. She dwelt the start, she got bumped, she got mullered around. But look, I'm talking about a Class 4 into the Queen Mary for juveniles, but I think she's professional enough. I like her very much, and I think I'm going to have a nibble at 25-1.
25-1, Carmella. Maria Bramwell, Keels, is the one that I thought potentially was overpriced. There was a little bit of 10s about, kind of 8s and 9s now. I thought she did really well to pick up Crispy Cat at Sandown. And straight after the race, I said she could win the Queen Mary. Now, I didn't think it was going to turn out to be quite as good a Queen Mary as it is. And speaking to the trainers yesterday, doing the previews, even the likes of David Marnan, who trains Lady Tilbury, he said it's a really good, strong Queen Mary this year, judging by what we've seen so far. I think Maria Bramwell will finish in the frame, but whether she's quite good enough to be a superstar, I don't know.
I was one of those that didn't think it was that strong, to be honest, and that was why I came down to one of the front two. She obviously did finish a race really well there. She did do well. No denying that.
You're not filling me with confidence, though.
No, I'm not. I'm not messing. I mean, Richard Hannon was absolutely convinced that Miami Girl is miles better than she managed to show at York when she was a beaten favourite there. He said, "Write that race off. She'll go very close." So she might be good as well. He wasn't far off with Persian Force, was he? So he does know the strength of his 2-year-olds, and at a preview I was at, he was almost more bullish about her than anything else. Like, you know what I mean?
18-1.
Yeah. So might run well. But like I said, I'm probably going to sit it out.
Sit it out, have a coffee, relax. Just 6 more to come.
We really need to get Kea's a reclining chair, don't we? And when he then does his like top tip or nap of the day, just pulls the chair back. Ding. Can we do that?
Those are our Queen Mary tips on the screen. Maria Branwell for me. It is Love Reigns for Paul Kealy, but he's sitting it out, and it is dramatised for Natalie Green and Jonathan Harding. That's your Queen Mary. It kicks off at 2:30. Moving on to the 3:05, it is the Queen's Vase, and a much longer trip here. And at the moment, oh God, this market has changed. Eldar Eldarov is 5-2, being very, very well backed. 9-2 Nahani, and it is 15-2 Anchorage. So, this Eldar Eldarov, 5-2, is that not ridiculously short, Nat?
Yeah, and I'm not on Eldar, which I really can't.
It's Eldar. I think I said Eldar. Eldarov.
Eldarov. Yeah, it's too short for me because I've got my nap in this race.
Oh, save it.
Yeah, of course
we'll
I will.
come back to you. Save it.
Actually, I've kind of
Save
ruined
it. We'll come back to you. Keels, we sat you.
It's short.
I sat beside
TV, people.
I sat beside you yesterday when you were doing your tipping column, and you were making a case for a decent price runner, 15-2. Make your case for Anchorage.
Anchorage, is it 15-2? I think that's a massive price, especially with loads of firms betting 4 places. I thought anything that got your money back for 4 places was great value here. Just looked like an out and out. Just looked like a proper stayer last time when running in the Gallinal. Really stayed on strongly at the end. Aidan O'Brien knows what to run in this race, doesn't he? He's won it 7 times. And I just thought, he's officially the joint second highest rated horse in the race already, with what I think is guaranteed improvement to come out the trip. So I think he has to be there or thereabouts. There is a bit of guesswork involved, isn't there? And obviously Eldarov's form at Newcastle was really good. Post Impressionist is one of the favourites for the King George Handicap on Thursday. Honiton, who was third, won by 9 lengths at Sandown the other day, absolutely bolted up and was rated in 94, something like that now. So, it's decent form. They all need to prove they stay, don't they? So it's not a race that I would be getting interested in smashing something up that short, to be honest, in a race like this. But I just thought each way with the extra places in what isn't a massive field, the Aidan O'Brien horse, if he finishes out the first 4,
and of course, like the Gallinule is a 1.2 miles. This is a 1.6 miles.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a different type of test, and I think there's going to be huge improvement to come from Anchorage. I think you might have spotted one there. For all that, he wouldn't be my first choice in the race. Jonathan, what do you like here?
I like Nahani. And the question mark for me really is it too soon after running in the Derby? But beyond that, I can't see that many negatives about him. Obviously, he's stepping up in trip, but he's from a family of a St. Leger winner. I can't see the trip being an issue. I was really impressed with the way he won that Blue Ribbon trial. The run in the Derby was very good. I just think the fact they're backing him up so quickly means he's obviously shown them something, and I think he will only get better the further he goes.
Thunder stolen that.
Yeah, if you nick my notes. No, it's back to the favourite though. I don't know, that Nottingham good to soft and then on the all weather. So this is pretty firm ground. So it'd just be too short for me. Nahani, I adore. I think Nahani was upset by the fireworks at Epsom. That has been reported. Was the only one that kind of got worked up, and then it just sort of didn't go right after that. It looks to me Ledger horse through and through, Nahani. I think Nahani's incredibly exciting. I did have a really good bet on Al Karem when it won at York, another for Carl Burt, but you can't ignore Al Karem. I liked that performance at York, but Nahani, I just think looks...
Well, anything that could possibly have gone wrong in the Derby did go wrong for Nahani. The fireworks, right, got worked up, sweated up beforehand, then completely missed the break. Then up the home straight, Adam Kirby went for kind of 2 gaps that he wanted and didn't get them. And as Charlie Appleby says in the Racing Post today, he was one of the only ones finishing in the race. Apart from the winner and the third, he was the only one in behind that was actually finishing in this race.
I can't believe he finished where he did.
Yeah.
Seventh.
Now, he was still beating over 10 lengths, obviously, but I thought he was value for maybe being beaten 5 or 6 lengths rather than 10 or 11. I can see the argument that it comes very quick. It's 11 days. It's not a lot of time.
That's the only negative. But is this not then to confirm Ledger credentials? Because this is the perfect trial for the Ledger. So you've got to roll the dice, have a lovely break then in between and freshen up. I mean, 11 days, it's punchy, but he's good enough, which I think he is.
And I got the impression Charlie wasn't absolutely mad to run him because we said you know, they said it was 11 days, short turnaround. We'll see how he is, but he must be bucking and kicking for him to actually run in the race. So I'm going to trust Charlie, I'm going to trust you, and I'm going to trust you. And I am 100% a Nahani fan. Look at the screen there. It is 3 votes for Nahani in the Queen's Vase. And I think a particularly generous 92. And Keels is out on his own, like you are.
On the chair.
I like it
With
like that.
Anchorage at 15-2, which is on the big side as well. That is the Queen's Vase at 2:30. Moving on to the 3:05. And what a race we have in store here. Sorry, it's the 3:40. The 3:40, the Prince of Wales Stakes, and Baaeed Bridge is currently an odds-on favourite at 5-6. Sharar is 4-1. It is 7-1. Lord North. State of Rest is 7-1, and Grand Glory is 12-1. Right, Keels. This Baaeed Bridge, you can form 2 really strong arguments saying that he is by far the most likely winner, or he's ridiculously short. Which camp are you in?
Both. Yeah, I mean,
Glad we sorted that one out.
I think he is too short, but I think he is the most likely winner. Like, you know, it is one of those. He just, you know, he looked fantastic at Sandown, didn't he? There's no doubt about that. But it's a different test now, isn't it? It's very, very fast ground here, although it wasn't slow at Sandown. You know, and he's running against proper Group 1 horses now, isn't he? You know, the Japan Cup winner. And Dubai winner Sharia, that's really just got really good form. Lord North is obviously decent horse at his best. State of Rest has won Grade 1s in America and Australia, and may have been a tiny bit unlucky in the Tassels Gold Cup. Just got a bit too far behind. Stays on strongly, but this might be tactical too. So I think it's a bit more open than the betting suggests, but I do think he'll probably win. So it's one of those, isn't it? I wouldn't back him at odds on, though.
Is there any price you would back him at? Realistic price? Like, if he went 11-8, would you back him?
You know, I'd probably be tempted. You know, I mean, I need a lot of tempting to have a better short price, though, because it's just not me. I tend to let those races go.
Jonathan, are you a big Baaeed Bridge fan?
Huge fan, yeah. He could hardly have won any more impressively at Sandown, could he? And that was a big old jump forward as well. He had questions to answer then, but you couldn't have asked for more with that. But I just think at the prices and with the ground drying out as it has, I quite like, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, Sharia, the Japanese runner.
It's better than mine.
Obviously, Japan have had a wonderful, wonderful year or two campaigning internationally. They have the quality of horses in Japan, or the quality of the horse in Japan is going up and up and up. And I just think with the ground in favour, and given the horses that were beaten in that Shima Classic, and at 4-1, that will be the play for me.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, there is a bit of value. If you are taking on the favourite, Nat, there is value in behind.
This is incredibly interesting. It's a small field. Tactics are going to be really important. My favourite horse in the race, the horse I genuinely think is just the patience that Michael Stout has shown with Baaeed Bridge, the quality of Baaeed Bridge. Baaeed Bridge for me is my favourite horse, but sadly, I think Shirai is going to win because of the ground. In Japan, look at what they run on. They run on very firm conditions. They're used to it. They're used to the heats. All these factions in my head. My favourite horse is Baaeed Bridge, but I have to think with my head on this and not my heart. And sadly, and I'm sad to say it because I want Baaeed Bridge to win, I think the Japanese horse is going to be the winner. If you want value, though, just be brave. Do a forecast. Go straight. Go for it. Go Japanese, Baaeed Bridge, Lord North. 1, 2, 3, boom. Get it in. Come on. Why not? Just put some money, small amount of money on.
How did your TriCast go in the opener yesterday? You got the first 2 anyway. Chindit was...
Oh, yeah, but I was unlucky. I mean, come on, I'm always hitting that crossbar. I'm always nearly there. And I was going to put Order Australian, but I love Chindit and I love Wootton Bassett, so I was like, I'm going to stick with Chindit. But I didn't do badly. I got the 1, 2, 4. But so Order Australia got right in my way. I was like, get off the screen. I was like, go away. So you could have loads of fun with this.
You could. Keels, I think State of Rest at 7-1 is too big because he's obviously proven on the ground. He liked the ground. I think he's going to be tactically fine because he has that turn of foot he showed in the Cox Plate. And to think that Baaeed Bridge is 5-6 and State of Rest is 7-1, given their rating and given what they've achieved in their careers, there's far too much between them and the market. Surely, you that likes a bit of value, surely State of Rest is the value option.
I think potentially, yeah. I'm not 100% sure how good the races were. He's won at the ones in America and Australia because middle distance turf races in those continents are not as good as you'd expect in Europe. And, you know, perhaps the Tattersall's Gold Cup is where he is rather than being unlucky as I thought. I'm not arguing, I wouldn't put you off backing him at 7-1, but I think what Baaeed did at Sandown was a fair bit better.
There you go. Those are our selections on your screen now in 1 second. We have 2 votes for Shariar, we have 1 for Baaeed, and I am sticking with State of Rest. Each way, I think if you can get a decent price about State of Rest without Baaeed, I think that's the way to go. I think he'll finish in the first 2, and I think 7-1 is a big price. That is the Prince of Wales Stakes. It's a small field, but what it lacks in quantity, it's certainly got in quality. Moving on to the next race on the card, it is the 420. It is the Duke of Cambridge Stakes. Currently, our 9-4 favourite is Saffron Beach. Mother Earth is 130, and it is 7-2 Bashkarova. And we've got a French filly in here, folks, and let's hear from her trainer.
Having Sibila as our first runner is an even more special for me, as she's really my filly of heart since the beginning of my career. Last year, the way she got out of the stalls, full gun blazing as she was about to rob a bank in most of her races, makes her unique, and that's probably one of the reasons people have supported and followed her on the social media. This year, we put her on the mile races, and we've been changing the strategy to have her finishing the race with a brilliant manner, like she did in the Santa Larry, and more recently in the Prix de Muguet. We are honored to get the opportunity to run her during the Royal Ascot meeting. She has never been so well since the beginning of the season. We can't wait to see her again putting her heart in the race like she always did. Aurélien Lemaitre is back on her since the beginning of the season, and he will be riding her for the race at Ascot. Of course, there's a bit of competition, and we're still waiting for the place on the stalls, but the race looks open, and she could make a very nice performance.
Yes, that was Christopher Head, trainer of Sibila Spain, who is, in today's Racing Post, tipped up by Mr. Pricewise himself, Tom Siegel, who is really, really sweet on her chances, Keels. Spoke to Tom yesterday at the track. This was the one he was waxing lyrical about. He really fancies Sibila Spain. What do you fancy?
Yeah, I think there's a potential turn-up in this race for sure, and she could be the one. She, you know, as Tom said, she looked a lot happier being held up last time. I think this fast ground may or may not be an issue because she's got a lot of form on soft ground, doesn't she, in France? So, but it's easy enough. You know, Saffron Beach is solid, but the £5 penalty is hard to carry. Mother Earth has the form, but doesn't have the consistency. So you know, they can easily be taken on. Bashkarova, will she want the ground this fast? Is it too soon coming after Epsom? And I took a chance at a bigger price on Prima Bacio, and obviously she has her question marks too. She was last of 6 on her return at Goodwood, way too keen. But Ed Walker said then that she was, you know, she wasn't right. His horses weren't right. She was on the easy list afterwards, and you know what she's always wanted is fast ground. Now, when she was, you know, early last season, she won a listed race at York, coming from last to first, absolutely buzzed up. And obviously was a very close 5th in the Falmouth at Newmarket, having not got a clear run. Finished well ahead of Saffron Beach that day, and not far behind Mother Earth. So she's got, you know, she's got the ability to be up there if she's back to her best. There is plenty of pace in this race, even if the French one doesn't go on. So I think it'll suit her. It depends on how well she is and whether she's actually trained on or not.
She's a proper turn of foot, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she has a proper change of gear. If she is as good as she was last season, we still haven't got that evidence, but I thought at a double-figure price earlier in the week, you know, yesterday, she was, you know, worth trying.
Keels, there will be people watching this show, a couple of thousand of them, thanks for watching, who will be looking at their screens and going, Mother Earth, 130, Guineas winner, proven Group 1 performer, not even running a Group 1 here. This is manna from heaven, they'll be saying.
Yeah, they could do, but you know, she's, you know, how is she going to run? You can't, you know, it's one of those you can't exactly trust. I mean, you know, Guineas winner, she's run 20 times, she's only won 4. You know what I mean? So she does have different ways of running.
And it is interesting. She wears cheek pieces. I spoke to Aidan O'Brien yesterday for the previews, and he said she craves cover. She needs cover. All she wants is cover, and the reason she ran so poorly in the Lockinge was because she didn't get enough cover. So you're looking at this field and you're saying to yourself, well, is she going to get much cover here? Like, that's why the cheek pieces are on. It's going to be interesting to see how she runs, but I could see her being quite popular in the market. There you go. But it is Primo Bacio for you.
It is, yeah.
Jonathan, Solve this puzzle for us.
Mother Earth, popular in the market and popular with me. I'm, as you know, a very forgiving man, and I can.
Are you?
Yeah, and I can draw a line through that.
You're very
lock-in
young to
run.
be forgiven already.
I know, but you know, I can take her on trust. I'm willing to overlook that run in the lock-ins, like you say. Didn't get any cover, horrible, but her reappearance run was enough for me to suggest she's still got plenty of ability. This looks like a very good spot for her. I think dropping down in class, the form is in the book. If the Mother Earth, I'm hoping, turns up, she should win comfortably, especially with Saffron Beach carrying that £5.
That's a bold statement. Could win comfortably.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Nah. It
Yeah?
is no.
Oh, no.
No, it's a puzzle.
Your no sounded very like yeah there.
Yeah, it's my northern accent. No, yeah, no. This is a puzzle, I granted. Mother Earth, look, she's hard to stop against her own sex. She's not as good as Saffron Beach. That's it. I'm not having it any other way. Saffron Beach is not 1,000 guineas filly, so let's just get over that. Like, just not suited to that. But Saffron Beach is excellent. The £5 penalty is a concern. You have to appreciate that. But Bashrakova, right, with these fillies, when they are... She's made a huge progress in a short space of time. When these fillies are flying, you know what we're like. We're on a roll. Yes, it's come quick.
Today, is it?
Yeah,
After yesterday?
we're on quickly, but she's versatile ground-wise. Yes, it's coming, but I thought she was really decisive last time. I think Bashrakova can go and do it again today because you can muddle around a little bit with the top two in the market. Mother Earth, like I appreciate what Keel says, can't always guarantee the performance, and 4 from 22 is not the most amazing stats. Saffron Beach quality, would love her to win, but £5 penalty. So Bashrakova, who won just, you know, a few days ago, well, 11 how many days ago it was, I just think, yeah, could do it again today.
Bashkarova for Natalie Green in the Duke of Cambridge. I'm willing to chance Saffron Beach that she's going to be able to give away that £5 penalty. I think she could make all, and I don't think they're going to get to her. So Saffron Beach for me in the Duke of Cambridge. It's Primo Bazio for Keels. It is Bashkarova for Natalie Green. And it is Mother Earth who could win comfortably, says Jonathan Harding. That is the Duke of Cambridge Stakes at 4:20. And if you thought that was tricky, it's about to get a whole lot trickier because the 5 o'clock is, of course, the Royal Hunt Cup. And we have a major plunge here, Keels. Legend of Dubai is now your 5-1 favourite. Symbolise next in the market at 15-2. Astro King is 8-1. 9-1 Totally Charming. 10-1 Dark Shift. And I think this is definitely a group horse running in the handicap. I'm sick I didn't back Legend of Dubai when it was 10-11-1. Let it go. Now he's 5-1. But to me, it's a big field, but he is has got by far the most potential. I think he could be a little bit of a star. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. It's all coulds, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? And there comes a point when the could doesn't become value. And
when the could doesn't become a would.
It's just not value anymore, is it? 5-1 in a field of 30. We don't even know whether he's going to be on the right side. You know what I mean? Because you know, they're going to split. They normally do.
I think he'll go off shorter.
They're normally doing it. Well, he might do, but it'll make him an even worse bet, won't it? In my eyes, you know what I mean? So yeah, actually, I just had a look at the BHA website. They've actually got the far side slightly faster than the stand side today, which was the other way around yesterday. So the watering has done its work, but I mean, there seems to be very little in it. But of course, they're going to split. We don't know. Last year, Real World won on the far side, but only just from one on the near side, Astro King, who's back in with another shot as well. So yeah, when you're even money to be on the right side. I don't want to be backing horse at 5-1 in a field of 30 runners, so not really for me. You know, I've liked Dark Shift for this race for a long while.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about him a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he's won 3 of his 5 starts at Ascot. He was drawn way out of things in the Victoria Cup in stall 4 on a day that the first 3 home were 26, 27, 28. And he's one of a few that who were low drawn, who've come out and run really well since. He bolted up at Nottingham, coming from last to first off what looked a steady gallop. And, you know, I actually thought the trainer had cocked it up by running him then because the entries had already been made, but it was actually the day after the penalties kicked in. So he actually gets £5 penalty rather than going up 7. So he's a couple of pound well in. He's still a young horse. He hasn't had that many goes. I mean, he's won 5 of his 10 starts. And he's got a change of gear as well, so I like him. He may well, follow Dubai Legend into the race. And I've had a few quid on my old mate, bless him.
Bless you.
who's actually won 2 of his 3 handicaps.
This is another Mondamage now.
Yeah. Well, I got my money back.
Get back the winner.
Such a...
Hey, listen, if Aklam Express could get 3rd, Mondamage could have got in there as well, you know. It wouldn't have been the silliest result in the world, that's for sure. But anyway, you know, he's, like I said, he's won 2 of his 3 handicaps. So he won the Britannia 5 years ago. And he actually beat Lord North on the bridle the other time, like, you know, with Jamie Spencer smuggling him in. And, you know, we saw David Simcock at the Belfield, that golf day, didn't we, the other day? He had Chamberlain's golf day.
But we embarrassed ourselves.
And I said, you know, and I said to him, I get the impression he's in a better place this year than, you know, he has been. He just looks really well and enjoying himself. And he said, he totally agreed. And he also agreed that York isn't really his track and he just needed the run there. Handicapper dropped him £3. Back to the mark he was when he beat Vafortino at Newcastle. Another typical Jamie Spencer rivalry, smuggles him in, absolutely cruising, and then beats a horse that goes and wins the Victoria Cup next time. Like, you know, I mean, so he's got some decent form at his name at the age of 8, and I just think with all the extra places, I think he'll get smuggled into it and get amongst it somewhere.
So bless him at the moment. We're looking for a price. He is currently 20-1. Bless him. A little bit of value?
Yeah, just about, yeah.
Natalie, talk some sense into him and just explain why Legend of Dubai is going to bolt up here.
I'm not...
I tried.
That one. I love Dark Shift.
Oh.
Love Dark Shift. Right. So I'm looking at this tactically. Dark Shift is drawn right in the centre in 15, yeah. He's going to have a bit of pace to go at. Look, we've got Isla Kai, Tempest, San Andreas. They're all drawn between 12 and 18. This is perfect for me. This is like music to my ears. Dark Shift. I mean, Kia's already made all the points I was going to say, so that's fine. But look, I just think this then is a mad dash, isn't it? Up the straight, and I think he has what it takes. And this race to suit him from the middle, from the centre draw, it's like tick, tick, tick for me. At still 10-1.
Dark Shift.
I now feel like you really are.
No, it's fine.
Legend of Dubai. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I can, of course, I can see the appeal of Legend of Dubai, but I've kind of looked at this race over and over, and I just keep on coming down at Dark Shift. And we can't ignore Astro King runner-up last year because that's got a right squeak as well. But
Dark Shift
for me.
2 votes for Dark Shift so far. Are you going to make it 3?
I'm not, no. And when I submitted my selections to the judges yesterday evening, Legend of Dubai was a lot bigger. But I am a fully paid-up member of the fan club.
There you go.
I
Good.
think he was so impressive. I think £11 rise doesn't even begin to touch where he is. I think
Not even close, Johnny.
Fairly lightly raced, just 5 starts, enormous potential. Obviously, a race like this, weird stuff happens, and we might have a 100-1 winner. But I just think sometimes you can overcomplicate it. I think he's just better than this level, and I think he should win.
Yeah, you're dead right. Legend of Dubai, currently a 5-1 shot. It might seem short now, but I actually think he's going to go off a little bit shorter. I am all over Legend of Dubai in the Royal Hunt Cup. Currently a 5-1 shot, and it is Dark Shift. It's 2-on-2 again, folks. It's myself and Johnny against Paul and Natalie in the Royal Hunt Cup. That's at 5 o'clock. It's going to be very, very interesting. Moving on to the 5:35. It is the Windsor Castle Stakes, and surely this is the good thing of the day. It is Little Big Bear, who I am an enormous fan of. I think he is a star. He's currently our 2-1 favourite. Oh, he's cut. He's cut. Yeah, he's 13-8 now, and I think he's getting to the price he should be. I think this is a superstar. Chateau is 15-2. Bold Action is 8-1, and it is 9-1 bar. Paul Kealy, if this wasn't Royal Ascot, I think Little Big Bear would be pretty close to even money.
Yeah, probably right, yeah. And, you know, he may yet be. I mean, if you look at the RPR he ran last time, it's good enough to win 9 out of the previous 10 Windsor Castles. He could easily have gone with a chance at the Norfolk. In fact, he'd have gone there. The Norfolk being run tomorrow, his RPR there, his RPR that he's got so far is £10 higher than the Antarctic who runs in the Norfolk. And he's coming to the Windsor Castle, much easier race to win. Should win, all being well. He's been running on easier ground than but he's by no name never who bounced off the ground here when winning. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, and he should just be the best horse in the race. You know, the one thing we are dealing with 2-year-olds; they can make massive leaps in form. It's the only thing, but I think, he's very much the one to beat.
Shamie Heffernan's body language the whole way through that Nace race was just, I've got everything under control here. Alexis Orba, who was second, Joseph O'Brien and Kevin Blake think the world of him. So I think that form is actually quite strong, and our RPR suggests as much. If he had ran in the Coventry yesterday, I would have actually fancied him. Now, he mightn't have won it, obviously, because we had a very impressive winner, but this is a really, really good juvenile. I think his debut form, I know Tough Talk was beaten in the Marble Hill, but those in behind have fragged the form since.
Could it be the case that out of the sprinters, he's actually running the best one in the easiest race to win?
That could be it. Just getting one on the board, getting a winner on the board. That could be it. Obviously, he's got Alfred Munnings later on the week in the Cheshire, which looks a good thing.
Not a sprint.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think this could be a shrewd piece of placing. Natalie Green, come on, don't try and complicate this.
No, I do.
Little Big Bear.
I do agree. Just so much class, beautifully bred, low draw, shouldn't be any problems. There's Phoenix Stakes entry, and there's not a lot to not like at this, but I like Chateau as well. I do. I think there's a really strong case for Chateau, as clearly moved in the market, because I certainly got a different price to that.
Bigger or smaller?
Bigger.
Okay, that's good.
A bit bigger, yeah. Because if you look at Chateau's previous runs, when you say there's been no luck in running, it's been disastrous, the poor thing. It really just hasn't
Incredible performance last
to
year.
plan. Amazing. And 5 furlongs at Beverley. I'm a big fan of Beverley, but it's got good to firm ground. It's not the easiest track sometimes, Beverley, and handled that brilliantly. So Chateau, if Little Big Bear, who I do think is the winner, if for some reason gets into trouble or doesn't go to plan, Chateau's got to be right up there for me.
Chateau. So a forecast potentially, or maybe Chateau each way?
I think I'll do a forecast, because I just find it really fun, because I can pull them off. When I do, it's just blissful. It's amazing. Yeah.
You're going in with plenty of confidence today, Nat. Jonathan, Windsor Castle, straightforward?
That was really pleasing to hear, actually, because Chateau for me as well. I think would have won by further with even a touch more luck at
How
Beverley.
far would Little Big Bear have won that race?
Yeah, but they've both got Phoenix entries, both those horses. Like, they clearly think a lot of Chateau, and Stable won it, obviously, in 2020.
Well, I think Little Big Bear sets the standard, and as you say, it's probably the winner. But for me, if things don't quite go to plan, or the ground doesn't quite suit, we know Chateau goes on solid ground, and I just think probably a forecast would be the play there.
Yay!
So Jonathan is putting his house on Chateau.
Yeah.
That's poor, isn't it? That's very poor. You see what I did there?
It took me way too long to...
I know, very
I didn't get it.
Chateau. What is Chateau?
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Just clever.
It's not rocket
It's
science now. Come on. It's the simplest joke ever. Those are our selections on your screen. And I just want to give a mention to one of 14-1. Wadow, I think that's how you pronounce it, trained by Donnacha O'Brien, is really quick. I was at Navan the day he won. And he went quick, and he quickened off that pace in a quick time at Navan. I think he's got blistering speed. I don't think he's got the class of Little Big Bear, but I think he's going to run a big race. So if you want something each way, potentially against the favourite, I think Wadow. Is that how you would pronounce it? Wodao? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Wadow?
Wadow.
You do you, whatever works.
Okay, we'll go with Wadow.
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 No, Wadow.
Currently 14-1.
Don't matter.
I think he's a little bit of value, but it is Little Big Bear for me and Keels, and it is Chateau for Jonathan Harding.
And watch out for Wadow.
Watch out for Wadow. You have too much energy for 9:15 in the morning, Nat. That is the 5:35. It is the Windsor Castle Stakes. And moving on to the finale at 6:10, it is the Buckingham Palace Stakes, and it is a wide open affair. I don't think that is the... Is it a non-runner? Is mine a non-runner?
No, he's got that. That's the Thursday's Buckingham Palace.
That's Thursday's Buckingham
Oh,
Palace.
talk about how the early mornings.
The production
just
team have had a
can't
shocker
get
here.
staff.
It was all going so well.
It's all going
Now, in
so
fairness,
well.
in their defence, they're up at 4:30 every morning. They've a commute in. You know, they're tired by the time the show starts. They do all the background stuff, and look at that. In a
Oh, my
matter of seconds,
magic.
they have got the proper graphics on the screen. And Hazaya is currently our 4-1 favourite. White Moonlight is being popular in the market, currently a 7-1 shot with Improvised, and Spirit of the Bay is 10-1. I'm going to leave you to last here, Paul Kealy, because I know you fancy one very strongly. Natalie Green, what is going to win the finale? Send us home with a winner.
Oh, I just sound so boring now, because I just can't get away from the top two as well. Of course, I can see the love with Hazaya. Joseph O'Brien knows how to train a winner at Ascot, yeah? Like, she's the improver for New Yard. The Cura last time close third behind Celtic Crown. The mile suits her. The pedigree's lovely. It's a lot of boxes ticked, aren't there? But I was surprised actually. Was White Moonlight bigger than that? Because again, I must be looking at some other sheet because I definitely got a bigger price of White Moonlight. I just thought
showing off now. 7s from 8s, yeah.
No, I think it was bigger. But 2 from 2 at 2. It's easy to say, isn't it? 2 from 2 at 2. First run since was third in the all-weather, so it's like obviously slightly different, just 13 days ago. But I kind of think that as a positive, just put on and really, really fascinating back at a mile. So yes, White Moonlight is just catching my eye, and I had a bit of a slightly failed bet on Technique. Why is Technique not there?
This is non-runner.
Technique and non-runner?
Yeah.
Yeah, non-runner. Darn it.
Yeah.
That would have been a good each way.
Well, earlier on in the show, Keels was calling non-runners winners with Monday. So you're back to winner already, Natalie. Well done.
Second best result of day one, that was.
I thought maybe not. Yeah, so sorry, very boring. White
Very
Moonlight,
boring.
but
7-1 White Moonlight. It's hardly that boring now.
yeah, but it's not, my usual.
Okay, this is my strongest fancy today. I think Isaiah is going to be extremely hard to beat here. I think she's still well handicapped, and the way she travelled through that Curragh handicap, that Premier handicap, she tried it really short and running. And I just thought the last kind of 2 furlongs, just a little bit early in her education, she didn't really know how to knuckle down and win it, but the way she tanked through it. Mikey Sheehy takes off £3. She's off the same mark of 86 here. I think she is well handicapped. Of course, bought by Qatar Racing since she ran it to Curragh. To me, she is...
Yeah, and she's nicely drawn. Like, you want to keep her out of trouble. If she can stay out of trouble there, because it obviously is a big field, it's a kind of another positive, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think she's such a strong traveller.
She goes forward.
I think she could end up in stakes races by the end of the year. I actually tipped her up in the Racing Post on Sunday, anti-post at 13-2. I think she is the best bet of the day, Jonathan Harding.
Well, I've been playing it fairly safe and trying not to overthink it, but I'm going to throw a Hail Mary here with Serenading for James Fanshawe and Jamie Spencer. Very consistent. Was pleasing enough return here last time. And I can just see if they go a little bit, last race of the day, get a little bit too excited up front, she might be able to pick up the pieces each way under a classic Spencer is what I'm hoping for.
Keep him on board. He's got to stay on board today.
Right, well, provided.
Poor Jamie.
Right from the back. I can just see her running really well at a big price, I think.
16-1, Jonathan.
You take that.
Nice way to go home, yeah.
I backed her last time. She does travel well, doesn't she? Back to Ascot last time.
There we
That's
go.
a very good big price.
However,
Right, Paul Kealy, take it away.
simple question for you all. If a horse is running in a handicap trained by Aidan O'Brien or John Gosden and is officially £10 well in, what price would it be?
There's no correct answer really to this question, but I will go 6-4.
Well, there you go. David O'Mara has got improvised in here. She ran in a listed race at Musselburgh 2 Sundays ago. She split horses rated 93 and 96. She was giving him £10 weight for age. I thought she would go up 6 or 7. The handicapper put her up 10, but he couldn't get hold of her before the weights for this race came out. So instead of being number 5 off 9 stone 5, she's number 19 off 8 stone 9. I still think 7-1's a big price. I've been chipping away at her for a week or so. When as soon as I saw the entry, because I thought she might get into this. She started off at 6 furlong last season. Didn't make a debut till she was 3. She improved for the step up to 7 furlong. Then for some reason dropped back to 6, but back up to 7 furlong for the first time this season. She was back to her best and her very best. It was a career best. The handicapper was even more impressed than I was, and she goes up to a mile and there's plenty of stamina on the dam side to suggest that this will suit as well. And obviously stall 14 is an issue, but the stable's going well. David O'Mara had a winner yesterday. We'd get Shirty, and I just think 7-1 for a horse £10 well in is just wrong price. Has to be
7-1, and you're on it bigger. You spoke yesterday on the show. For viewers that tuned in to Good Morning Ascot yesterday, Paul Kealy, this is one of your strongest fancies of the week.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it has to be. I mean, I think 7-1 for a horse that's officially that well handicapped. I mean, she is officially the best handicapped horse running at Ascot this week.
And she's 7-1.
And she's 7-1.
You're scaring me now, Keels. You're scaring me now. I was all over Hezaiah.
This Hezaiah, I know she's run well in handicaps the last 2 times. We've only 5 maidens.
For Mick Halford. Had switched to Joseph O'Brien.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, obviously, she's improved a bit, but I mean, she's that good, really?
Yeah, but I think a horse is allowed to improve. Like, I think Michael Halford especially does train them to improve as they go on. So, I don't know. I
trained a Group 1 winner, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
As a 2-year-old. So
As a mentor,
not
yeah.
bad, was he?
Yeah, no, absolutely. What
know?
I'm saying is, I think she's progressing the older she gets, and I just thought the way she travelled last time and the way she travelled at Leopardstown, to me, she looks a stakes-fully run the handicap, and she's only run off 86. Holy God! With Mikey Sheety taking off £3.
Well, my
This
one's
is
only
called the
running off
washing machine. I refer. Do you feel like you're in a washing
My one's
machine?
only running
A
off
little bit,
84.
yeah.
She's already rated 94.
Okay, we shall see. We have to wait till 6:10 to find out, and we're actually going for a few drinks tonight because, of course, Nick, producer of the show, is going away drinks is tonight. So we'll have an ale drink together. I'll buy you your first drink if Improvise wins, and you can buy me mine if Hazaya
It
wins.
seems to remind you owe me a lifetime supply of Guinness, and you think you've only ever bought me one.
I bought you more than one. God, that was a long time ago. I do owe you a lifetime supply of Guinness. I'd be bankrupt if I stuck to that bet. I would be bankrupt at this stage. I would. These are your selections for the finale at Royal Ascot, the 6:10. It's Hazaya for me. It is Improvised for Paul Kealy. It is White Moonlight for Natalie Green, and for Jonathan Harding, you're a serenading fan.
Indeed.
You're serenading us. Those are the 7 races at Ascot on Wednesday, and it is nap time. We went close yesterday, all of us, of course. We didn't get the winner, but we got the 2nd and 3rd yesterday in the Ascot Stakes, of course, with Bring On the Night and Arcadian Sunrise. So our naps today, Paul Kealy.
Well, sounds like I'm going head-to-head with you again because I'm improvised.
And I'm Hazaya. Natalie.
Oh no, I'm speaking for you. We're the same. I don't even know what your nap is. Mine's
What happened there?
Nahani, because I know that you like Nahani. So my nap is Brave today, really. But Nahani, the Queen's Vase, look, like, honestly, the only thing is typically horses that get beaten in the Derby have a terrible, dreadful record in this race. But Nahani is going to defy that statistic. It all went wrong in the Derby. The fireworks didn't break well. It's tough. It's resilient. It's on its way to the Ledger. And Nahani is the winner.
Nahani is Natalie Green's
305.
nap of Wednesday in the 305. And Jonathan Harding?
I've got a window seat on the bandwagon with Legend of Dubai. That's my nap.
Yeah, I think that is not a bad selection at all. There you go, folks. 7-1 Improvised, Hazaya 4-1, Nahani at 9-2, and it is Legend of Dubai for Jonathan Harding. So let's hope we have a winner amongst them. We have to break our duck in the naps selections. So that's it, folks. That was day 2 preview of Royal Ascot. It's going to be a cracker today, isn't it?
Oh, I cannot wait. Do you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to go home, get my swimsuit on. I'm going to swim in the Serpentine in Hyde Park. I'm going to swim, get all that, feel all fresh, and then I'm going to sit and watch the racing because it's going to be sizzler.
It's going to be epic. Best of luck with your nap, Paul.
Thanks very much,
Yeah,
mate.
good
I'm going
luck.
to go home and have a sleep.
Jonathan, what are you going to do? Are you going to sleep or swim?
I'm going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, what? Work-life balance. Come on. Go swimming or sleeping or eating.
And I'll be on the first train out to Ascot as well after the show. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, we're here every day this week. We're here till Saturday. We're going to be previewing Royal Ascot for the next couple of days. Natalie and Paul will be back tomorrow. Are you here tomorrow, no?
Not tomorrow. We'll see you on Saturday.
See us on Saturday, and we look forward to it. I think Maddie Plale is joining us tomorrow. But thanks a million for watching. Good morning, Ascot, and best of luck with your betting today.